In the context of the protocols IP, TCP and UDP, a model has been developed. This is the Internet model, which you can find on this slide. We now take a look at it starting from the bottom, and you will see that this model is simpler than the OSI model. So the lowest layer is the subnetwork layer, which summarizes the OSI layers 1 and 2. Then there is the Internet layer, which is named after the Internet protocol IP. It corresponds to the network layer in the OSI model. Then there is the transport layer, which corresponds to the transport layer in the OSI model. And on the top there is the application layer. So the application layer corresponds to the application-oriented layers in the OSI model. That is, it is a summary of the layers 5, 6 and 7 of the OSI model. So when we now compare the OSI model to the Internet model, we can do that on taking a look at the importance of the model and at the importance of the protocols. For the OSI model, the model itself is very important. If you want to solve a current networking issue, then you often try to match it to one of the layers of the OSI model and then to have access to solutions which have already been developed for such a task. There are many adaptations to use the model in specific scenarios. For instance, there are adaptations of the model to different generations of mobile telecommunications networks. A frequent criticism related to the model is that it is too complicated and too detailed. So in the 1980s, there have been attempts to implement the OSI model by protocols. But these protocols, they were not successful. So therefore, nowadays, only very few parts of these protocols are still relevant. One example is the ISIS routing protocol. So in contrast, the Internet model is a much simpler model and it has not been in the focus of the Internet development. The developers, they focused on the protocols, in particular IP, TCP and UDP, so that these protocols became the basis for the success of the Internet. They showed in particular very good scalability related to the tremendous Internet growth. So a model that matches best to the situation in reality is the hybrid model, which you can find in the middle of the slide. As you can see, it maintains the separation between the physical and the data link layer as we know it from the OSI model. Then on the top, there's only one application layer, which is the summary of the session, presentation and application layer as we know it from the Internet model. So in the reality, it turned out not to be so useful to do this separation in the application-oriented layers.